What's up, guys? Here for the week one review. It'll be the same format as normal. I'll just go through the matchups for the week. I will have new power rankings posted as well. And let's get started. So we'll start with my matchup. I played Garrett this week, and I was, I think, the fourth leading scorer in the league and lost my matchup because I played the second top scorer. Garrett won this one 146 to 131. I usually round up or down on the decimal scoring. He had big days out of Wilson, McCaffrey, DeAndre Hopkins, Marvin Jones, DeAndre Swift. Bunch of those guys in the 20. I mean, he had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys score in the 20s. I mean, it's over 80 points there. It's going to be pretty tough to beat when 4 of your guys put up that. I mean, you had Montgomery with 18, Jones had 16. Not too much else going on there. Mike Evans disappointed for him, and maybe you could say his kicker disappointed. His kicker just had 1. But other than that, I mean, you expect Noah Fant to do what he did, and everybody else. I mean, defense got 3 points. It's whatever. Nothing really crazy on his bench there, but just a good effort out of him. It's a little frustrating because he picked Russell Wilson 1 pick before I was going to take him. So it is what it is. Looking at my team, obviously my team did okay. I had Tyler Lockett smash this week. Darren Waller smashed, although I basically expect Darren Waller to hit those kind of numbers pretty regularly. That's why I picked him where I picked him. Dalvin Cook played okay. Johnson played okay. Robbie Anderson got okay points. I wouldn't say he played okay since he only had 1 catch, but it was for 57 yards and a touchdown. Defense played well. Kicker played all right. Nothing really going on the bench. But obviously I lost Mostert, who got hurt in the game and just came out within the past hour that he is going on season-ending IR because he's going to have surgery on his knee. So it'll be down to Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell. I understand Sermon was a healthy scratch Sunday, and everybody's kind of hesitant on him. I have a feeling he's just going to go in there and be the man, but we'll see. I mean, everything I'm hearing and listening to, everybody's like, get Elijah Mitchell. So we'll find out. I'm not sure. I want to spend a whole bunch on that till I truly see it. Obviously, he played well on Sunday, but they're also playing the Lions. Granted, it almost seems like anybody can run for the 49ers. So Calvin Ridley struggled for me. So out of those 2 guys, that was really what hurt my team. Dalvin Cook played okay. Would have been nice if he could have gotten 20s. Trevor Lawrence played all right. Got me 19. I was able to make the correct quarterback decision barely. I do expect that to be something I have to struggle with all season long, deciding out of those two guys. Next up, we got Dakota versus Dalton. Dakota won this one 127 to 114. Looking at Dakota's team, a lot of double-digit scoring I see here. Obviously, Dak started him off strong with the 28 points. Kamara played okay. Joe Mixon with a big day, had quite a bit of the snap share for the Bengals in the backfield. All his receivers played just mediocre for the most part. Allen Robinson struggled a little bit. Elijah Moore really struggled, only got 0.2. Defense and kicker played all right for him. Nothing to speak of on the bench there. But he was able to get it done. Looking at Dalton's team, obviously Jalen Hurts carried the load almost with 29 points. CeeDee Lamb had a big day with 20, and then everybody else, just had an average day. Elliott struggled, but it was kind of expected given the matchup. We'll see if he can turn that around. This week with a little bit easier of a match. I'm not playing the number 1 run defense in the league. Brandon Ayuk, 0 points here. Apparently he's in the doghouse with the coaching staff. He was healthy. He did play some, but clearly didn't have any productivity, and that could have cost Dalton here because, I mean, if he plays, he could have put up, 13, 14, 15 points, I'm sure. Obviously, Debo had a big game, so you never know there. If he would have thrown in Jamar Chase for him, he wins the matchup. He had Jamar Chase on the bench with 18, but obviously you never know that going into the game, so it is what it is. Moving on to the next one, we got another very high-scoring matchup, the first scoring team versus the third scoring team for the week. Derek won this one over the defending champ, Michael. This was 153 to 136. Looking at Michael's team, Lamar Jackson had 18, an okay game. Nothing crazy there. Tyreek Hill smashed it, 32 points this week. Chris Godwin had 19. Panthers defense got him 11. Obviously, they had a good matchup. I don't expect them to perform that way moving forward. Marquise Brown played well, got 16. Running backs just played whatever. Nothing crazy there. Jonathan Taylor was pretty involved in the passing game. They actually passed it a lot to the running backs for the Colts this week. Tight end struggled, only 1.8. Obviously, the whole Packers struggled this week. We'll see if they can turn that around against the Lions this coming week. Chenault played okay with 9. Kickers, whatever. Did have Jamal Williams on the bench, who had 21. We'll see if he can keep that up. I mean, obviously, they lost that game, but they gave a lot of work to Jamal and Swift, so we'll see how that works out there. Looking over at Derek's team, obviously he put up the most points this week. That was thanks to Melvin Gordon, who had 19, Travis Kelce with 23, Brandon Cooks with 16, Amari Cooper with 32. Those are the big weight carriers there. Metcalf had 14. Josh Allen was 17, just okay game there. His running backs were mediocre outside of Gordon. Defense, kicker, nothing special there, but when you get 30 plus out of a player, that's big time, especially over 20 out of nearly 2 other guys too. But nice day out of him. Even had some production on the bench with Jarvis Landry with 17, Sterling Shepard with 21 on the bench. So he even had Kirk Cousins on the bench with 22, so he could have got some more points there. Obviously, you're not benching Josh Allen, even though he did have a little bit difficult of a matchup there. Next up, we got a blowout. We have, looks like Garrett number 2 versus Matt. This was 122 to 86. Looking over here at Matt's team. So this is where I got a big gripe, all right? So I don't know if you guys remember the draft. Matt was in the finals last year. He picked at number 11. At number 11, he picked a quarterback. He picked Justin Herbert. I think picking a quarterback in the first round in our league is absolutely insanity. And, if you're going to pick one, at least pick Patrick Mahomes, who's the number 1 quarterback. You pick Justin Herbert, who the rankings I was using, I believe, had him at quarterback 8. Okay, so you pick Herbert, so let's ride with Herbert. No, you also draft Aaron Rodgers in round 5. So who do you play this week? You decide to play Aaron Rodgers. The number 1 guy you picked, you have him on the bench. Like, I don't understand that. What kind of fucking philosophy is that? What kind of strategy is that? That makes no sense. I mean, I kind of didn't want to question, you drafting 2 top quarterbacks last year. I guess that strategy worked out somehow last year. You did make the championship. But you pick the guy in the first round, you got to play him. I just don't understand that. So you went with Aaron Rodgers, who had his worst game of his whole career, had 1.3 points. Running backs didn't do much. You did have a big day out of Thielen, who had the 2 touchdowns with 26 points there. Kicker played well, got 10. Dallas Goedert found the end zone, so he had 12. I mean, not that Herbert killed it. Herbert had 13, but, if you're going to spend a first-round pick on a guy, like, I have to think that you believe in this guy, like he's your ride or die, and you benched him first week. And yes, he did have a difficult matchup, but you picked him in the first round. Like, you don't you don't ever bench your first round pick, like unless they're hurt. I mean, I don't understand that. Tyler Boyd struggled for you. Paris Campbell had 1 catch. Buccaneers defense got you negative points there. Nothing really else going on the bench. I mean, if Edwards-Helaire doesn't get the ball anymore than he did this week or last season, he's just not going to produce for you. Darrell Henderson played well. We'll see if he can keep that up. Obviously, I don't expect Thielen to be scoring double-digit touchdowns every week. McLaurin lost his quarterback, so it's going to be a rough go for him there. Fitzpatrick isn't great, but he's serviceable. I'm not sure Heineke and Kyle Allen are going to be able to produce the same as Fitzpatrick, and it doesn't appear that the Redskins have any interest in getting Cam Newton at this time. And nothing really going on your bench to speak of. Looking over here at Garrett number 2's team, Stafford played well in his debut against a pretty decent defense. Got 24 points there. Miles Sanders played all right at 15. Huge day out of Debo. You know how I mentioned Ayuk kind of in the doghouse, could have got some of these points. I mean, Debo put up 27, so big day out of him. Steelers defense had 13 for him. Kittle, you expect a little bit more. He didn't find the end zone. He did get basically 8 points there, which is okay for a tight end, but obviously Kittle's number 2, number 3 tight end in fantasy, depending on whose rankings you look at. Obviously, Devontae Adams had a rough go at it with only 8 points. Claypool with 8. I mean, that's kind of what you got to expect. Did have DJ Chark on the bench with 16, so he could have got some more points there. I want to say DJ Chark was number 2 in the NFL in air yards this week, behind Tyreek Hill. So it looks like they're throwing him the ball quite a bit, or Lawrence threw him the ball quite a bit. Granted, they were behind, but they're probably going to be behind quite a bit. So having Chark, Chenault, Marvin Jones, you can probably always throw those guys in at your third receiver, flex spot, and probably have somebody decent there. And that's a good reason I might just throw fucking Lawrence out there every week and just be like, yo, he's going to throw 40, 50 times probably because they suck. The defense is horrible. So we'll see what happens. Next matchup I have Josh over Casey. This was 116-96. Looking at Casey's team, obviously Mahomes killed it with 33. Kind of why, if you're going to pick a quarterback in the first round, you pick him. And then as I look at his team, it is just single digits all the way down the board until you get to Kareem Hunt, who had 16. Kicker got him 11. He had some points on the bench. He had Tayshaun Williams with 17 on the bench, Jalen Reagor with 14. Looking at his starters, Derrick Henry had a rough go at it with only 9.2 points. No touchdowns for him. He picked Javonte Williams in the second or third round. Only got him 5. Now, granted, I understand that he's potentially more of a long-term play. So we'll see how that works out. Julio, nothing special, 4 points. Henry Ruggs had 5.6. Kyle Pitts, another high pick. Another guy who struggled, 5 points. Falcons may just be a very bad team this year. I don't know. I hope not, because I have Calvin Ridley, but we'll see. Odell Beckham was a healthy scratch, or maybe he's hurt, maybe he's not. I don't know. I know he's coming off injury, but that wasn't notified until just after 3 o'clock, I believe. So that's why he has basically an inactive player in his lineup. At least, in my opinion, I can cover him for that. Because obviously our lineups lock once the games start. Although sometimes you can switch people out, but I think all his guys, all his receivers would have already played, and because he had him in receiver spot, not flex, and he couldn't have done anything, even if he could have made the switch. So it is what it is. Looking over here at Josh's team, Kyler Murray also killed it this week, 34. Eckler played all right with 12. Josh Jacobs found the end zone twice with 17. But he does not look healthy. he was hobbling and going in and out of the game the whole fucking game. So I'm not sure, how injured he is and what's going on there. DJ Moore played okay. Corey Davis with the 2 touchdowns there. I do like Corey Davis quite a bit this year. Marquise Callaway, everybody was huge on him. Shit the bed, only 1.9. Now, a lot of that could have been because he was probably shadowed by Jair Alexander, one of the best corners in the league for majority of the game. So I'm sure some of it had to do with that. Mike Gesicki, 0 points. You don't get one of those top tight ends, you're going to have to suffer some of those every week, every once in a while, I'm sure. Ravens defense got -1, but still able to pull out the victory here. Did have Gronk on the bench at 25, so if he switches Gronk and Gesicki, that's a huge, huge difference there. I'm sure that'll probably be the change, at least this coming week, but we'll see. And then the last matchup here, we have Jason versus Kenny. Jason won this one 113-94. Looking at Jason's team, he had Tom Brady with a big day with 27. Nick Chubb had a big day with 21. And then Hawkinson with a big day with 21. And then not much else to speak of. Kicker did get 11. Najee Harris struggled, only 5.4 points. Pittsburgh offensive line is very bad. And that's really going to limit him, especially in like medium to tough matchups. Obviously, when they play some of the easier teams on their schedule, I'm sure he'll be able to produce in those games. Justin Jefferson, only 10 points, not much to write home about. Cortland Sutton, 1 for 14, tough matchup. I mean, not tough well, yeah, probably tough matchup. Giants got some decent DBs, but tough game for him. Obviously, his teammate Judy is now out for a substantial time period, so he's going to clearly be the number 1 and likely reap the benefit of some more targets there. James Robinson, only 7 points. I expected more from him there. Everybody thought, at least I think everybody thought it was going to be a cushy matchup with the Texans, but clearly that wasn't the case. Looking on the bench, he had Mike Williams on the bench with 18, and nothing really else to talk about there. Looking over here at Kenny's team, Tannehill with only 14. I know Tannehill's normally a very productive quarterback, very efficient, can be a top 10 quarterback. The fact that they just don't pass a lot, and it's nothing like super appealing and super, in my mind, attractive about his game that makes him want me to, have him on my team. So, and stuff like this, I don't think the Cardinals have an amazing defense. I think they're middle of the pack. So not really sure what the issue was on Sunday there. Cooper Kupp played well for him, 20 points. Judy, even though he left the game hurt, he was playing well, had 10. Devontae Smith gave him 16. Keenan Allen couldn't find the end zone, but did get 14.5. Running back struggled for him. Gibson with 10. It's okay. Chargers do have a solid defense, and obviously they lost their quarterback. Aaron Jones with only 3 points. That's absolutely unacceptable in my opinion. I just hope it was Packers getting the rust off. I mean, Saints defense may be better than we think, but we'll see what happens there. Mark Andrews struggled a little bit. I thought he would have played better. Only had 3.5 here. Obviously, there's really no receivers in Baltimore with a lot of injuries they have. I mean, they have Watkins and Marquise Brown, but outside of that, it's bottom of the barrel until their guys get healthy. Did have Antonio Brown on the bench, who had 21, so could have helped him a little bit there, but it wouldn't have been enough to give him the victory. So that wraps up the review for the week. I will have I guess I'll go over the power rankings here, and I'll post them on the thing too. I'll just start from the bottom and work my way to the top. Obviously, number 1 is still going to remain, so no suspense. Team number 12 is Matt. Obviously, I just raped his team here because some poor decisions I think he's made, and his team is just not looking good. At 11, I have Casey. At 10, I have Josh. At 9, I have Kenny. At 8, I have Derek. At 7, I have Garrett number 2. At 6, I have Michael. 5, I have Dalton. 4, I have Dakota. 3, I have myself. 2, I have Jason. And at pick number 1, I have Garrett still. He scored the second most points and won his matchup. So that's it for this week. Get your waiver claims in. Everything will process tomorrow at noon. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.